Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 32 of Season 4 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series / Chase Race number 6. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Chevy Rock N Roll 400 here at Richmond Raceway, as we are again set for 50 laps of racing here at this 3/4 of a mile short track. But before we look at the starting lineup, as per, we got to take a look at how the chase standings look coming into the race today. So after last week at Sawmill, Joshua Sekuli extends his points lead to 32 points over Tim Fiegel, 36 over Johnny Gardner, 37 over the winner of last week, William Brock, 43 over Dylan Young, 44 over Sean Galligan, 56 over Dylan Poteet, 64 over Dylan Jacobs, 66 over Kyle Matthews, 68 over our pole sitter for tonight, James Qualls, 87 over Raphael LeDuc, 91 over Zach Flickinger, 100 over James McLeod, and 115 over Chris Dollerton. So, final opportunities for those guys in the very back of the chase standings to try and make something happen in order to get themselves back into the hunt for the championship. But let's look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row is Kyle Matthews and John Cittadino. Top 10, James Qualls on the pole with Paul Minnick starting next to him in second. Row 2, Raphael LeDuc and Joshua Sekuli. Row 3, Dorian Facepuncher, Charles Sanford. Row 4, Dylan Jacobs, James McLeod. And then row 5, Benjamin Miles and Tim Fiegel. Let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the Chevy Rock N Roll 400 at Richmond.
Drivers, start your engines.
All 42 cars rolling on the racetrack for their one pace lap around here. Now this race is going to be interesting because the closest track to this we have raced at this season is Iowa. And Iowa was an interesting race to say the least, but since this track is a little bit smaller than Iowa, we're going to probably see a lot more aggressive moves here at Richmond. But the pace cars in pit road, boogity boogity boogity, let's go racing. Well, Raphael LeDuc made a pass in turn 3 and has taken the lead over from James Qualls and got to lead the first lap of the day, or of the night. Raphael LeDuc, he is actually, if I believe, is the only driver in the chase standings who has yet to win a race. And he has won at least once every single season that he's been in this series. This season he's been on a winless streak, but he has made a big comeback in terms of getting good finishes to the point where he did make the chase on points. Right now, he's looking to get his first win of the season and his first win for Furniture Row Racing, as next season in Season 5, he will be returning to the 77 for a second season. And in fact, Furniture Row Racing, if I think, are moving down to, I think there's still going to be a 4-car operation, still kind of in tandem with Backmarker Motorsports, because James Shelley and Seth Cole are for sure returning next season. So the alliance between Furniture Row and Backmarker Motorsports will continue next season. So technically 6 teammates will still be in the same rides, although I think maybe the 79 will no longer be in the series, as Matt Haas might be electing to move down into the Domino's NXT series next season, or the Amazon Prime Truck series. We won't know until sign-ups come out, and which, by the way, is a little side note. sign-ups for for all 3 series next season will be coming after Season 4 has concluded. So after Kansas will be when we get the sign-ups. Actually, no, I changed my mind. Actually, the sign-ups will be this weekend on Saturday because I am off from work on Saturday, and I figured it'd be a good time and a good day to do sign-ups for all 3 series for next season. So actually, mental note, sign-ups for next season will be this Saturday afternoon. So be on the lookout for that, everybody. But the majority of the Marvel Studios Cup Series field is set. As pretty much, like I said in many races ago, the field for this series will be cut down to 40 next season to make room for the remaining 2 series we have. As I'm tongue twisting myself. As for next season, we're going to have 40 drivers in the Marvel Studios Cup Series, 30 drivers, actually no, not 30, 30 drivers for the Domino's NXT Series, and then 25 for the Amazon Prime Truck Series. I don't know, I haven't made up my mind on the size of the fields for the other 2 series yet. But nonetheless, those 2 series will be coming back. As meanwhile, back up at the front, Rafael Leduc has led every single lap so far tonight. Qualls, he's been trying to figure out what lane he should run to try and get a run on the 78, or not the 78, the 77. But keep in mind, if this race is green the whole way through, pit stops might happen a couple times, so that could really shake things up. Meanwhile, battle for third as Paul Minnick goes by the points leader Joshua Sekuli, and now Dorian Facepuncher's got a run. Can he get to the bottom in time? I don't think he made it. No, he didn't. So that moves Joshua Sekuli back to 4th. So right now, only 2 chase drivers would gain points. However, not very much points because Sekuli's just 2 spots behind the top 2 right now. Meanwhile, Dorian Facepuncher's getting passed for 2 spots, so he falls back to 7th. Excuse me. As Jay Jefferson now takes over the 5th spot, and Jonathan Zorline in 6th. Jonathan Zorline, if I'm correct, is the only non-rookie driver this season to have yet to get a top 10 finish. He's had chances at top 10s, but he would just get wrecked or something would happen on pit stops or just bad qualifying, and it would screw him over of his chances. Right now, he's going to fall back to 7th for now. If he can get in front of Dylan Young, he can hold off and keep that 7th spot. And it looks like he's going to hold them off for now, but I don't know. It looks like Zorline's car is not very good in 1 and 2. It's like when he touches the bottom, his car gets really, really tight, and that forces him up the racetrack. And now he's getting passed by 2 more cars. Dylan Young, who's a championship contender, and Charles Sanford. As here comes another chase contender, Sean Galligan. As things are getting racy in the top 10 right now, drivers swapping position right now. But meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, a little over half a second lead for Rafael Leduc over James Qualls. And when we cross the line, it'll be 30 laps to go. And when we get to lap 25, that will be when we take our commercial break. So Rafael Leduc, if he can lead up to lap 26, he'll have earned the most laps led bonus points for the race tonight. James Qualls gained a little bit of time on the 77, but the 77 just has that clean air right now and is still holding a steady lead. He hasn't pulled away to a big lead. The 70 of Qualls has been able to sort of keep up with him. It's just a matter of trying to get a big enough run to gain extra time and hoping that the 77 makes a mistake. and let's say like he overdrives a corner similar to what has happened to Jonathan Zorleen tonight. Speaking of Zorleen, it looks like he moved back up to 7th, so he's now making a comeback run as he's now approaching the back bumper of the 62 of Dorian Facepuncher. And like I said a few weeks ago, Dorian Facepuncher, this is his farewell season for the Marvel Studios Cup Series as he's elected to move down into the Amazon Prime Truck Series, where he will be driving the number 24 Rainbow Warrior truck. Meanwhile, Zorleen tried to dive it in on the bottom underneath Facepuncher, but couldn't make it stick. That kind of cost him a little bit, but now Joshua Sekuli's now going to get passed by 2, maybe 3 cars if Galligan gets a run in time. I don't think he got there in time. Well, actually now he does, so Sekuli's going to lose 3 spots in 1 lap, falls out of the top 5 back to 8th. So that definitely helps the guys ahead of him in the championship standings on track with their situation right now. But when we cross the line, we're going to be taking our commercial break, but stick around. Live action will be on the bottom of your screen. We'll be right back. So the question on everybody's mind is, what would you do for a Snickers bar? Dude, I can't talk right now. I'm doing a commercial for Snickers, for fuck's sake. Would you stab yourself in the penis? Oh, I don't have a dick anymore. Worth it. What would you do for a Snickers bar? Hey, Levi. Oh, hey, Your Highness. Are you checking out ZevBellringerPorn.com right now? Yeah, I was actually just about to check it out right now for myself. Alright, well, let me know when you're done, alright? Thank you. Alright, I'll see you later.
20 minutes later.
Hey, Levi, I was just coming to check... Okay. That is the biggest boner I've ever seen in my fucking life. And Jesus, your walls are wider than they normally are. Well, he's not gonna have any kids. What you gonna do? If you want to have a good time in your room at night, be sure to check out www.zevbellringerporn.com and also follow her on Twitter @Zev_Bellringer. Trust me, you will thank me later.
This is hot.
Wake up, damn it! Wake up!
What the fuck? What the fuck? There's a fucking crack in the fucking ceiling of my room, and it's leaking blood. Are there a bunch of dead birds up there or something? Either way, I need to get this fixed. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there! Hey, can you fix this for me, please? I sure can. Just give me a second.
A few moments later.
Another reason more people stay with State Farm. Get to a better state.
What? I'm just sitting here eating Chinese food. Big whoop, you want to fight about it? I mean, it's delicious, but I'm not gonna lose my mind like this idiot did. Look at this Chinese food! Oh! So yeah, go get you some Chinese food today, mister. Or missus. Or whatever you are. Welcome back to live action here at Richmond Raceway for the Chevy Rock N Roll 400, and as you see on the bottom of your screen, we are under caution for the first time here at Richmond, as I don't know what happened. We didn't really see anything, but green flag pit stops have concluded and everybody is cycled around to where they needed to be. Rafael Leduc still has the race lead as a result, but we're going to go ahead and try and find what brought the caution out for the first time here at Richmond. Well, watch Johnny Gardner. He was coming out of pit road, and Kyle Matthews turns down to the bottom and gets into the 41, and then up the racetrack at a hard hard crash for both cars, and such a hard hit for Johnny Gardner. He goes upside down and is sliding backwards upside down along the safer barrier. That's a pretty scary accident right there for the 41, and that's two chase contenders caught up in this mess. The 41, who was in the top 3 in the points coming into tonight, and Kyle Matthews, who was looking to try and gain some momentum, but both guys are out of it after miscommunication between the two as far as the 41 coming down pit road, or coming out of pit road. Is watch this again. So the 41's coming back on the racetrack, and the 42 tries to turn down, and he gets into the 41, and then look at that impact. The 42 went up in the air because of how hard of an impact that was, and the 41 hit head on into the wall so hard he went flying upside down. So very unfortunate accident for both of those chase contenders. But like I said, just nothing but a big miscommunication between two drivers. And it takes out two chase contenders. But we're going to go ahead and take you to the restart here at Richmond. Well, after that first caution, two cars are officially done for tonight as expected, and they are Kyle Matthews and Johnny Gardner. Two cars got caught a lap down after those pit stops, James McLeod and Dylan Jacobs, two chase contenders. But when we get to the line, it'll be 13 to go. Rafael LeDuc is your race leader. Second is Jay Jefferson. Third is Dorian Facepuncher. Fourth, James Qualls. Fifth, Jonathan Zorling. Sixth, Joshua Michaels. Seventh, Dylan Young. Eighth is Paul Minnick. Ninth, Charles Sanford. 10th, Richard Johnson. And then the rest of the top 20 is Dylan Thoreau, Joshua Cooley, Carson Gum, John Cittadino, Sean Galligan, DJ Curtis, Brandon Gonzalez, Preston Plord, Dylan Poteet, and Trent Dunham. This is going to be an interesting restart because of two lap-down cars on the inside. Green flag back out. James McLeod got an excellent jump. So too did the 78, and they're going to easily go by the leaders to get their laps back. And here comes Dorian Facepuncher with a challenge for the lead. Underneath the 77, that disadvantage of the leader being stuck on the outside of two lap-down cars worked out in the favor of Dorian Facepuncher and even James Qualls. Look at Qualls, he's on the back bumper of the 62, and here he comes with a run. The pole sitter might get to finally lead a lap tonight. No, Facepuncher actually managed to hold him off for now, but Qualls ain't going to give up. 11 to go, and now he's got a huge head of steam on the bottom. Here comes Qualls, and his Facepuncher has to back out of gas to make the turn. Qualls is taking the lead. Jay Jefferson, however, is right on his back bumper for himself. And now Jefferson's going to get a run as it's getting really racy up here at the front of the field as the two lap-down cars who are back on the lead lap, McLeod and Jacobs, are pulling away from this. And now Jay Jefferson has taken the lead over, and here comes Joshua Michaels at the 97 now is going to try and go for the spot. James Qualls' teammate Richard Johnson and another teammate Charles Sanford. We got Retro Racing Enterprise cars. 3 out of the 5 of those cars are in the top 5. Qualls trying to hold off Joshua Michaels and now is looking to try and make a charge to get back to the back bumper of Jay Jefferson. Rafael LeDuc, where did he go? Last scored in 12th, so the dominant car of the night kind of got screwed over as a result of lap cars being on the inside, forcing the issue, but at least he has a teammate, Jay Jefferson, who's had a struggle of a season. He's looking to try and finish his season off on a high note, but he will be back in that 87 next season for sure, as Jay Jefferson now has a little over half a second lead over rookie Richard Johnson. And look at Carson Gum go. He's now going to take the 4th spot away, it looks like, from Joshua Michaels. There's the points leader, Joshua Cooley, again stuck on the outside. Less than 5 laps to go, and Cooley trying to gain as much as he can to keep that points lead at a big pace but right now he's losing a ton of ground, and that easily helps a lot of the chasers up at the front of the field, particularly James Qualls. Less than 4 laps to go. Battle raging on for 4th between Joshua Michaels and Carson Gum, and now Michaels is going to try and take the 3rd spot away from James Qualls, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it. Qualls falls back to 4th as a result, but Jay Jefferson has a pretty sizable lead, nearly 0.6 of a second over Richard Johnson, now almost 0.7, and it's less than 2 to go. And as long as Jefferson doesn't make a mistake, he is home free to get, I believe this would be his 2nd win of the season. I think he did win a race earlier this season, as the white flag is displayed for the 87 car. I have 1 and 2 pretty smoothly. And comes out of 3 and 4 smoothly. Checkered flag waving. Jay Jefferson wins the Chevy Rock N Roll 400 at Richmond Raceway. Due to circumstances of lap cars being on the inside of 77, the 87 was able to maneuver his way around and get to the lead and pick up a win. What a job for that 87 team. But let's look at the rest of the results as this race is just concluded. Richard Johnson, the highest finishing rookie, gets a 2nd place run. Then Joshua Michaels right behind him in 3rd. Carson Gum finishing out in 4th. And then the highest finishing chaser was James Qualls in 5th. Dorian Facepuncher with a great run in the 6th position. Finishing out in 7th is Paul Minnick. 8th, Dylan Thoreau with a great run. 9th for Brandon Gonzalez, solid performance for him. And Joshua Collard rounding out the top 10. Rest of the top 20 was Preston Plord, John Cittadino, DJ Curtis, Sky Commons. The dominant car of the night, Rafael LeDuc, finishing 15th. Sean Galligan, Joshua Sekuli, Charles Sanford, Pichu London, Seth Cole. Rest of the top 30, Jonathan Zorline, his top 10 list streak continues, unfortunately. Matt McIntyre, Anthony McCrory, Emmanuel Hartnett, Ashland Boyd, William Brock, Dylan Young, Cody Smart, Dylan Poteet, Benjamin Miles. And the rest of the field that finished were Tim Fiegel, Jessica Sheldon, Matt Haas, Chris Dollerton, Zachary Fitzwater, Zach Flickinger, Jake Rogers, Trent Dunham, James McLeod, and Dylan Jacobs. And the only 2 cars out of the race after the only wreck that happened were Kyle Matthews and Johnny Gardner. And that does it for our coverage here tonight at Richmond. Next week we head to Texas for race 33 of the season, chase race number 7. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into Texas. And this is Levi McIntyre signing off.